Hello everyone, it's DuckFairy07. Today we are playing Izzet Inti Saga brew. Okay, so I've been through a dozen of Inti Saga brews. I tried multiple Ragdos variants. I tried Izzet, I tried Gruul, I tried Mono Red, I tried 3-color like Teamer, Jund, whatever you can think of. I even tried the 5-color Domain Saga Inti, and that one was really good actually. We are going to talk about that in the next video. But today let's talk about Izzet. So we have Ledger Shredder in this build, card very important in this build, providing us very nice Inti synergy. So when you have both of these on the field and you do the Ledger Shredder ability for basically for 0 mana, just playing most commonly like 1 0 mana spell and the Dragon Rage Channeler or the Ragavan or the burn spell, you get the free ability from Inti, and that provides a really good value. Okay, so this is basically the only build that I tried without the street rate, and it was doing really good. And thanks to ditching the street rate, I was able to get Giganta. But yeah, definitely street rate is a great card to have in a deck with Inti, and the synergy with the Wraith is just really good. But I preferred it in Ragdos variants. Okay, so Akal Pakal is another new card working with Cookbook very well, very nice synergy. So having 1 or 2 Cookbooks on the field, you can easily just trigger this guy on your step and also on your opponent's step, which means through a couple of turns it can draw you like 4 or 5 cards and just take away the game. Akal Pakal in this deck is kind of my flex slot, and I definitely can see this card being something else, like obviously Expressive Iteration. It's one of the best cards in these colors and definitely a playable in this deck. There definitely are some options like Spell Pierces in the main are also like well positioned right now. So definitely a lot of options. Metallic Rebuke, another good card from the sideboard. I think Metallic Rebuke is pretty cool with the Cookbook. So often your opponent won't suspect you holding the Rebuke when you have like 2-3 foods lying around and just 1 mana open. But for Rebuke to be really good here, you need to have like a Cookbook on the field. Without Cookbook, it's not as good. But still, the card is, I think, worth playing on the sideboard, and it has performed pretty well in multiple situations. Okay, so aside from that, on the sideboard we have more removal, we have some land hate, some one-off artifacts for our saga, and of course Giganta. That's it. So let's go check out the gameplay. Okay, so this deck and all variants of Inti Saga not all, but like 90% of the ones I tried performed very well, and there were just so many free matchups easily won. Okay, so I started off with a Cookbook with all Chase Daredevil in hand. That is pretty strong start against a lot of decks. Especially one creature based. So opponent goes for Dragon Rage Channeler. I do another food, play my Asmo, kill Channeler for free, play my second Cookbook and pass the turn. Yeah, so I all killed their Channeler for free. They still have to use a removal on my Asmo if they want to play any more creatures. And also, like, this Cookbook also enables me to get the Asmo back from the graveyard for 4 mana, which is incredibly strong in mid game and the late game. Okay, so I was able to do a bunch of food here and just wait until I get the 4 mana to get Asmo back from the graveyard, or just try to draw another one. I go for Mishra Bauble here, getting me the Ragavan. Fetching, opponent spends their turn playing 5/5 Murktide and another Channeler. I untap, draw into Asmo. Asmo was obviously very good draw right now. Land would be fine here, probably would win me the game anyway, but Asmo from the top was like GG immediately. I just killed their creatures for free, and that is the game. Okay, so let's check out the game 2. Okay, let's see my sideboarding plan in this one. Okay, so trimmed one channeler, trimmed one Blast, trimmed one Daredevil, one Moxember. So what I wanted in this matchup was obviously some graveyard hate, 2 of my artifacts, and some unholy heats. Unholy Heats is pretty easily triggered, Delirium is pretty easily triggered in this deck, and yeah, some additional removals can be pretty nice. Okay, opponent kills my Ragavan here. I have Inti, so have the Shredder in my hand and Unholy Heat. Opponent plays 7/7 Murktide. Unfortunately, I can't hit the Murktide, so I decided just to play the Ledger Shredder, pass the turn. Opponent has explosives here to kill both of my creatures, and that's it. Basically, I can't recover from this. I don't have removal from Murktide, and I concede this one. So let's check out the game 3. Okay, so started with the cookbook. Cookbook Inti, very powerful. Also, if I can get like Daredevil, that's amazing. But here I decide to start my turn with Shredder Bauble, discarding Cookbook. This way I make my Shredder a 2/4, and that gets him out of the bolt range. So they have to try to find a Delirium to kill it. Finding second Shredder was pretty nice, and opponents spends their turn to exiling my Cookbook. So already two Cookbooks gone. And yeah, I was able to jam the Akal Pakal here and just play my Ledger Shredder. So at this point I didn't have any artifacts to trigger the Akal Pakal, but yeah, that's not so hard to find. So I play the Shredder, trigger both of my Shredders and my opponent's Shredder, and I find Saga, so I decide to discard everything else and keep Saga in hand for the next turn. Opponent triggers my Shredders too, discard 2 of useless lands, and they pass the turn. So I was in a decent situation here. I had 3/5 Shredder and another 2/4, and I was able to draw into a Saga, play my artifact. So I was drawing a card and getting I got the ability from the Akal Pakal, and I decided to use the Stone of Ferrek on same turn to exile my opponent's graveyard to prevent them from playing Murktide. I think this was pretty important. Okay, I decide to go for Construct immediately. This way I trigger my Akal Pakal, and end of turn again I get to draw, not just a draw, but actually pick among two cards of my library and fill my graveyard a bit more. Okay, so definitely 2 Sagas on the field right now, putting me in a really good situation. I decided to find the cookbook. Cookbooks are really good in pumping the constructs. Okay, opponent has Otawara to bounce one of my big shredders, and here I made one of artifacts, so I triggered the Akal Pakal, and I also can trigger it on my opponent's turn, make another construct token. So Akal Pakal really did a very good job in this game, drawing me a bunch of cards. I was in a good position without it, but yeah, he just made just decided this game and made it much easier for me, and that was it. Opponent concedes, and that is the match. Okay, so let's check out match 2. Okay, so playing second, I had to mulligan the one lander. So I keep Saga and all chase Daredevil and Asmo. So only thing I'm missing right now is the cookbook, and I have Saga to find it. So I can go like turn 2 Saga, then uh, basically spend my 3 turns just making construct token and fetching the cookbook. Opponent was not doing anything much here, so I went for the Ledger Shredder. Opponent has the binding to take the Shredder, and yeah, maybe yeah, I think it was definitely better play here to go for the Saga immediately. And I find the cookbook here, play the Asmo, get the other cookbook, discard the Daredevil, sack 2 foods to kill the Rhino. And yes, so I was in a decent position. Next turn, I was able to create another large construct token. I also had the Galvanic Blast, and yeah, so now I was pretty good. 2 sagas back there, creating constructs. A third saga in my hand. An opponent didn't have any pressure on the field, so right now I can go for another token, find the Shadow Spear, equip the Shadow Spear, attack, gain bunch of life, and make another large token. And this is just impossible situation for my opponent. Attacking for 9 here, gaining life, and there is nothing they can do. Oh, they did have a decent hand. Uh, After this, tried to play some more Rhinos, but yeah, the constructs are just too big right now, and that is the game. Soon opponent concedes, and yeah, let's check out game 2. Okay, so let's check out my sideboarding plan against Rhinos. So obviously Akal Pakal can be too slow in this matchup, especially on the draw, and I definitely want the Metallic Rebukes in its slot, also the Spell Pierces. So these are the 4 cards I really want here, and I decided to trim on Blast a bit. Blast is decent, obviously can kill a Rhino, but you need to have metal crafts. I think 2 is enough. I was able to jam Inti here, trigger the channeler. So this way, my plan in this game was try to raise my opponent's rhinos with channelers. So I did some surveilling, and I can go for the attack here with the channeler, making pumping channeler again with Inti. They go for outburst. In response, I go for the blast, go face, make my channelers delirious. So I deal 5 damage, putting my opponent to 9 life. This means basically lethal damage next turn. On the field, opponent has to do something about it. They fetch, so they shock, sorry, not fetch, but they shock here, and I guess, yeah, since I played the Ragavan dash, they didn't have other option to get rid of my other creature, and this was lethal. Opponent concedes, and that was a quick match against Rhinos. Let's check out the match 3. Okay, so I had some one-landers there, so I had to mulligan and kept a 5-card hand, pretty decent. I went for the Bauble, ditching the Galvanic Blast here, pretty important to try to get Delirium as soon as possible. Another Bauble is pretty good here, so I decided to go for a Ragavan dash. and go for the Bauble immediately. This is so good when this happens, when you put Daredevil into your graveyard and get it back immediately with the Bauble trigger. I play a Bolt from my opponent's deck, and to get another trigger, put another blast into my library. I really wanted to get that Delirium. That was really important for this match. And I got the cookbook, so that was pretty good because I had Inti and Ovalchase Daredevil in my hand already. But here my opponent had Force of Negation to counter my cookbook, unfortunately, and also a counterspell for the Ragavan. So cookbook was very important enabler in this situation for me. And yeah, so I decided to let this Ragavan here and try to get the Inti ability going. Inti was my enabler here that enables me to play the Asmo, and fortunately I got another cookbook, so I was able to play my Asmo. So I was hoping now for a third land to play my Akal Pakal. With Akal, if I can play the Akal Pakal, then I can very easily start drawing a bunch of cards. Opponent has Murktide there, 8/8, but yeah, I had a bunch of cookbooks here, so now I was able to kill Murktide, gain 3 life, pass the turn, have a good blocker for the Ragavan in Asmo, and that's it. So unfortunately didn't get blue mana for Akal Pakal, but I did get a Saga. So Saga, unanswered Saga means I can win this pretty quickly if my opponent doesn't finish the job, and they don't have much time to finish it. So I gain 3 life here to negate the DRC attack. Next turn I gain 2 foods again, so I can kill any creature. Now I also make a big construct. I can also make a big construct which can block the Ragavan, and I attack with Asmo to put my opponent on 5. This means if I can theoretically just have lethal next turn, but opponent plays another Channeler for blockers. This is fine because I can still go like a Shadow Spear, equip. So I find my other basic, make a bunch of food tokens, equip the large construct token with Shadow Spear, and that is the match. That is the game, and let's check out the game too. Okay, so playing second. Decent hand, nothing special, like just turn 1 Channeler into turn 2 Shredder, no bubbles or anything. So I find Inti here, so I decide to go for Inti first, but my opponent had like infinite removals this game. It didn't matter what I played because they just had all of the removals. Yeah, so they killed my Shredder and played their Channeler. And yeah, there is another one. So they just killed everything, and then also had Delirious Channeler and Expressive Iteration to find more cards. Just a pretty good hand by the opponent. I have another Shredder here, so I can draw another card. This is basically a free draw because Daredevil comes back to hand immediately. The Shredder is so good with Daredevils. Great card to pair with it. Okay, so opponent has Fury to get rid of the Shredder, and also has the Blood Moon. Giganta really can help against Blood Moon, but opponent had too much stuff this game, and I really needed to find this land turn earlier. Didn't get it, and it was too late, so that was win for the opponent. They also find the Murktide, and that's it. Okay, so let's go check out game 3. Okay, so pretty good hand. Unfortunately no Daredevil, but aside from that it doesn't get much better than this. Let's check out again the sideboarding plan against Murktide. So this is the game 3, I'm playing first. I decided to trim on the blasts a bit and trim just one Daredevil to fit in just a single rebuke. I also trimmed in Inti and Moxamber to fit in mostly like what I want here is Graveyard Hate. Graveyard Hate is obviously pretty good against Murktide and Unholy Heat, so definitely want that. And Unholy Heats can also be like really relevant to kill their Shredders, kill their Murktides sometimes. So yeah, these are the cards I wanted to bring in, and starting with Saga is just very good against them. Opponent has Fury here to get rid of my Asmo, but yeah, the large construct tokens are pretty big problem for them, and unless they have something like a Dress Down, it's very hard for them to get rid of it. So I attack with a 7/7 construct here. I have lethal next turn. Opponent, it's out of the hit range even, so opponent can kill it, and that is the game and the match. So let's check out match 4. Match 4 for win number 4. And as I said, I was performing really good with this deck. I had 12-3 with this deck. Unfortunately, had like 3-4-1 leagues in a row. Didn't have luck with trophy leagues, but the deck felt like really good. I was really happy with it. Okay, so let's see here. I have turn 2 Ledger Shredder into Bauble, doing draw discard. Then I can go turn 3 Inti and Bauble again to trigger the Shredder, but my opponent goes for Fire Ice. This makes me thinking they're probably like Rhinos again. So I decide to go for Urza Saga plan as soon as possible. Unfortunately, this can also be like Cascade Beans, of course. Opponent goes for the Fairy, bouncing my Saga. That is like so annoying, the ultimate annoying. And yes, my opponent, I pass the turn doing the Ledger Shredder ability. Next turn, I can go like Saga into Inti. That is pretty good for me. Also, Shredder is just really good against Cascade decks, getting the ability every time, but opponent has Solitude to remove the Shredder and puts a Beanstalk on the field, which is very good for them. I go for another Shredder. I was not able to discard the Daredevil here because I needed to play Shredder first to get the Connive ability. My hand was pretty decent here, like 7 cards in hand, Saga on the field, Saga in hand. But yeah, opponent had a hard cast Fury here to kill both my Shredder and the DRC, which really hurts. So I can't do much except just play the Ragavan and start creating construct tokens. And meanwhile, opponent has another Shardless Agent finding another Beanstalk, and that's now pretty bad situation for me. I can trade with Shardless, create the construct, but yeah, I need my opponent to like have a really bad draws to be able to get out of this. Also binding immediately on construct, getting them 2 cards. I mean, like, I still have Inti and the cookbook, This can provide me a lot of cards, but it is not as fast mechanism as having two Beanstalks on the field, and I'm pretty far behind. Yeah, so no much chance here, but yeah, I got get trample on Ragavan here. This way, the Ragavan still does the ability. Trying to find something. Only I get another Ragavan from the top, which is something. I have another Saga, which my opponent can again bounce, then play another Solitude, and yeah, the game was definitely over, and at this point I just concede so we can check out the game 2. Okay, so in the game 2, um, playing first now, had a pretty good start, like a turn 1 Ragavan, into turn 2 either Shredder Bauble or Inti. That's a pretty good start. Ragavan can often go like really crazy against them. Also Havar Might from the top is kind of useful, getting rid of their Beanstalk of course. Here I find opponent's Shredder, and Shredder cascades into Shredder, which is amazing for me. So next turn I can go like a double Shredder and then Bauble, which is really good, provides a lot of card selection, and also pumping my Shredders. Yeah, okay, I decide to go for Inti Bauble instead. This way I exile the card for free. I exile the card for free, which I can play, but I hit just the All Chase Daredevil. Yeah, All Chase Daredevil would be pretty sweet if I draw it in hand. Also, like the street raids are pretty cool with Inti, but also like you really don't want to exile the street raids with Inti ability. So they are really good, but also sometimes, sometimes not that good to exile on Inti ability. Here my opponent has a Shardless into Beanstalk, into Fury, immediately kill my guys. And yeah. Still, despite that, despite the Beanstalk and the Fury, I was still in amazing situation, had a lot of pressure on the field. I went for another Shredder, Havar Might, do the Connives, and then I can kill their Beanstalk, which is definitely the engine of their deck, and the way they try to outgrind me. Also, this deck has incredible grind, and I was able to also a grind, but also a really nice card selection. So I really wanted this Asmo here, obviously, so I discarded everything else and went for Asmo, getting the cookbook, playing the cookbook, and doing another Surveil. A great situation for me, basically unbeatable unless they have a Supreme Verdict, and I really doubt that. Two really large Shredders. Opponent plays one binding, and yeah, that was the game. They concede, so let's check out the game 3. Pretty interesting matchup. Both decks have a good grind available, and yeah, let's check out my sideboarding plan. I really wanted the Rebukes and Spell Pierces, again same as against other Cascade decks like Rhinos. Definitely didn't want Unholy Heats. I mean, aside from Omrat, it doesn't do much. Galvanic Blasts are okay, but I don't think they're that necessary. So I just went for I don't know, I just trimmed a couple of those, and that's it. Akal Pakal, actually it was pretty good in this matchup, so I had it in on the play, but I moved it out on the draw. Opponent goes for the Beanstalk. I have Pierce and find Saga on the top. I decide to leave it on the top. And now I have Saga into Inti. I can give my channeler Delirium, start attacking immediately for a lot of damage. Opponent has core Firewalker, which means they're definitely gaining a lot of life, but just to try to be as aggressive as possible. Here I find another channeler with Inti ability and play it, and that is a lot of damage there. So 2 channelers and Inti. Inti can pump the channelers to make them pretty big and strong. So I target a second channeler with the Inti ability in case they want to kill one of those. Yeah. Of course they go for the binding, take one of the channelers. I exile the land, which was pretty good. I find the stomping ground. This way I can go for the Havarmite. I already discarded card from Inti ability. This means I was able to cast my Asmo, find another cookbook, and go create a construct on their turn. Pretty good situation right now. Asmo, Inti on the field, and the channeler. A lot of damage there. Also the constructs now. I can go for a Havarmite. Havarmite can exile the binding or the Beanstalk if they play it. So I would say pretty bad situation for the opponent. I decide to discard the cookbook. Maybe it was better to discard the Asmo actually. Yeah, but my opponent has endurance, blocks my Dragon Ray channeler, nothing I can do there. And yeah, they try to survive and go for Boseiju there. So still a lot of stuff on the field, a lot of power, but opponent also has fire to kill my Inti. In response, I discard a card, find the channeler, which was pretty good, and also exile the binding to get the other channeler on the field. So I was hoping right now to get the Delirium. I play the channeler. I can also play. I can kill endurance, then play the Asmo just to get that cookbook. I immediately sacrifice the Asmo I played and just get the cookbook. Try to find Delirium again. Definitely that's what I was hoping for, but didn't get it. But still it is fine. I have a good attack here. Dealing 3 to the opponent. And next turn, hoping for a top deck to finish this with the channelers. So I didn't find what I wanted, just land there. Opponent again has endurance. So even if I got Delirium, it would not mean much, but I was able to create 2 food tokens, kill the endurance again and deal 5 to the opponent, leaving them on 1 life, which means I have 4 lethal attackers next turn, and they have a Charles into Beanstalk, but they need Fury immediately to survive. Didn't get it, and that is the game and the match. So we can check out the last match for the trophy. One of many trophy matches I played with this strategy lately. Lost all of those, unfortunately didn't have luck. Okay, so here I was starting first and my hand was like pretty decent. Turn 1 channeler, turn 2 shredder, and yeah, I was just amazed how bad my draws were, especially in the second game against Burn. So I was playing first against Burn and I'm a full deck, so cookbook and sacking foods for 3 life can be like pretty efficient strategy. But yeah, I had Shredder on the field, no way to trigger it, no way to cast Asmo, and Owl Chase Daredevil and Asmo uh, stuck in hand, not doing anything. I'm not able to play it, not able to just make any of my discard outlets survive. I also was not able to cast Mishra Bauble here because of the Vortex, and I have basically 6 cards in hand and can't do anything. An opponent finds a lethal from the top, so pretty unfortunate, and yeah, just a terrible game. Okay, especially when you play one of these games like this, you lose it in the trophy match. It definitely feels bad, but the second one, it's definitely yeah, it was definitely even worse. It was just kind of unbelievable that I was not able to draw into anything relevant. My opponent didn't attack there, probably just skipped through the combat phase. Went for the stomping ground, and now I was hoping to trigger the shredder. Yeah, so I had turn 2 shredder, and I actually didn't want to they were holding the fetch, so I didn't want them to Searing Blaze on my turn. And yeah, I was hoping to go for the Shredder Dragon Ray Channeler when they're tapped, and now make this Shredder 4/2, which is very hard for them to kill. And I can now have 2 very strong attackers. I have Galvanic Blast in case they play some of their creatures. I can go for the face. But my opponent finds the Exquisite Firecraft. Yeah, so I just play a land, grab a Giganta. Opponent, yeah. So I have 2 very good cards in my hand. Giganta, a 5/5 beater, and opponent had just 1 card. They had removal for Channeler and attacker here in Monastery Spear. Didn't want to play Blast on their turn because they could save Spear if they had anything. Okay, so I decided, I knew like they had like probably Searing Blaze, but I decided to just go for the block. This means they use their Searing Blaze, they can kill my Ragavan, they lose their Spear, and it's like pretty good situation for me. I have Ragavan and Galvanic Blast, also Asmo in hand. I didn't care about Path to Exile because I had another one there. Yeah, so it seems like pretty unlosable from this position. Also Havar Might, another attacker here. My opponent is on 6, pretty low, and now I also have like 3 artifacts to trigger the Galvanic Blast. Yeah, so my opponent had a Wear Tear in response, so my Galvanic didn't deal 4, it dealt 2 damage. But yeah, now they're on 4 life, I have Ragavan on the field, they have 1 card in hand, and yeah, I top deck another Blast, basically for a theoretical lethal, but opponent has another Path to Exile, so I'm just standing here on 8 life, opponent on 4, with Galvanic Blast in hand. I need anything like discard outlet for Asmo, another Galvanic Blast, another Ragavan, another Channeler, another Shredder, or basically just about anything. And Asmo into land was like the only thing I didn't need here. Opponent has a Boros Charm to put me on 4. And another land from the top was just terrible. Pretty sad trophy game to lose 2 games like this. It definitely among saddest trophy games lately. I draw Metallic Rebuke, but yeah, this was not a good time to draw the Rebuke. I needed the Rebuke when they had less mana available, so they were able to have like 4 spare mana here to pay for the Rebuke, and that is the lethal, can't do anything, and incredible that like I didn't find a way to discard Asmo in the first game or in the second game. Both times I had 2 Asmos stuck in hand. Asmos definitely lost me this match. And yes, aside from the cookbook, which is like the best card in this matchup, I didn't get a single cookbook in 2 games. I had like Shredders and Intis as my discard outlets, but they were not able to survive against a burn a lot on the field to make me play Asmo. When I play the first one, I tutor for the cookbook, and it's definitely easy after that, but since you don't find the first cookbook, it can definitely be hard, and that's what happened in this trophy match, and that was it. Just wasn't able to draw into anything relevant, and had a bunch of cards stuck in my hand, and that was it. Okay, so I think this deck is really strong. It has great scam matchup. It has a good, probably like even Rhino matchup, which you can make much better by adding more Rhino hate on the sideboard. As you can see here, my only Rhino hate is 2 Rebukes and 2 Spell Pierces. You can easily add like Engineered Explosives or something similar, Void Mirrors, stuff like that. Lot of other cards available here, and but also like Spell Pierces can be played in the main in the flex slots of Akal Pakal or even Rebukes, and definitely a lot of options, but I really like this Izzet version of Inti Saga. Street rate has been good, definitely, in other builds, so you can also just ditch the Giganta, but I think with the variant with the Ledger Shredder, it's kind of Ledger Shredder is providing you with additional way to trigger Inti for little mana investment, so I think this build doesn't need Street rate as much as the Rakdos one. And yeah, that is it. The Shredder plus Channel provide very nice card flow, so I think the street rates are less relevant, as already said, and that's it. So thank you for watching. Hope you liked the video. Friendly reminder to click like, click subscribe, comment in the video. Tell me how you like the Akal Pakal, what do you play in that flex slot, or some more ideas for the sideboard, whatever comes your mind. That's it. Again, thanks for watching and goodbye.